All right, we now welcome on to the program someone we've wanted to get on for a while, finally doing it, going into this 2020 season. Barstool Clem from Barstool. What's going on, brother?
Oh man, it's good to be with some proper Giants fans here. We were talking about a little before we kicked things off. It's a new era, folks. It's a new era. We're gonna get everyone together, all Giants fans on one page, Coach Judge style. We're all going towards the same direction. It's been a rough, what was it, like 4 years? I mean, 5 years if you want to go back. It just feels good to be like fired up about the season. I don't know what this season's gonna look like, and no one does. But I'm excited to be here with my guys here.
It's nice that our coach is like coming a little under fire, and he's the one that's firing back a little bit instead of Odell did this or Ramsey said this, that kind of stuff. And it's nice to see the whole fan base in one. Like you did your lap running video, we did ours, and then the hour and a half before this, our mentions are starting to get blown up with people sending us videos of running laps, and I love it.
I love it. We're either going to get better together or we're going to get fit together. Maybe I might die at some point, but hey, we're going to just all try our hardest. We're in one. That's my biggest thing right now. Giants, I'm sure you guys, I've seen you talk about it. Like, there's been a lot of sniping, and I mean for myself as well. There's been so much negativity the last few years. It feels nice, like you said. I feel like the outsiders are now the common enemy. I have to believe in Coach Judge's message until it's no longer, unless we get off to a rough start. The people will be coming back at us, but it feels good to kind of have like I haven't defended someone like this since he said like Odell back when it was like everyone was just ripping apart everything he did as he put up 1,410 touchdowns every year. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like the first time Odell punched somebody, we're like, that's just one time. And then, 2 years later, we're like, okay, maybe it's who he is.
Yeah, Clem, we made the unfortunate decision to show our faces while we were running, while Bobby just showed like the front of the camera. So at least on my part, I looked like I was about to freaking die, and people were replying like, "Are you okay? Like, did you make it past this video?" So we made that unfortunate decision to show our faces, and it at least on my end, it was not a pleasant sight. It was not.
Yeah, hey, Giants fans. Some of us are Giant fans. I'm a Giant man. I'm running around my house and we're huffing and puffing. But hey, by this time next year, we're going to be fit. We're going to have hopefully a team that, can make some noise here, and everyone's going to be better for it thanks to Coach Judge. So we're hopefully on the right track. I want this thing going all year, by the way. I want it going through training camp. I want us running laps. Like you said, I get some people in my mentions. They're throwing their masks on. They're running around the city. They're running like city blocks, and they're talking in their phone, and people are like, what the heck is going on? Coach Judge has taken over this city, because it's the first time I felt like structure in my life as a Giants fan since Ben McAdoo showed up in his oversized suit, and it just became a clown show in East Rutherford ever since then. So it feels good to kind of have everyone go in the same direction again for once.
Yeah, it seemed like everyone was happy with the draft and the coach, which is just getting one of those is a hard task. To get the both so far is good. But I want to ask, what's your relationship with the Giants? Like, you're the Giants blogger for Barstool.
Yep.
Obviously you've been a fan for some time, but kind of give us like the quick synopsis on your Giants fandom.
Sure. Yeah. So, I mean, grew up, I'm so like the first town north of Westchester, so Putnam County. I live in Mayapack. I grew up here, and I'm a Mets fan, Giants fan. So I always get immediately my chops get busted because they say I'm like a gypsy fan. Usually, it's Yankees, Giants, Mets, Jets, and all that stuff. I thank God I chose the Giants for like that little bit of happiness in my life, so I wouldn't just like hate sports altogether. Which, I mean, obviously the last few years maybe not so much. And it was one of those things. I don't know. I just gravitated towards the Giants. My dad, who's not even a huge sports fan, the first thing like that I learned as like sports is important. He told me about Bill Belichick's defensive game plan in Super Bowl 25 so many times about how it was the most genius thing he ever did. And obviously, as a kid, I was 8 years older and they won Super Bowl 25. I watched Super Bowl 21 a million times to the point where my parents told me it would change if I kept watching the video, and I just kept watching. So I don't know. Something with the Giants clicked right away. Been a fan ever since. Some dark days there. The Dave Brown days was kind of like my comeuppance in the game as a Giants fan. And then, just started working at Barstool. We had this awesome writer, 610. He was the Giants writer before me. He was kind of the guy who did the Giants, Rangers. And then once I got hired full-time, he had a separate job where he does full-time. So I kind of just took over a lot of the Giants stuff because, I could get on right away. It was my job to get news up immediately where he has a full-time job he had to do. So I kind of took a lot of the Giants stuff over from there. And, it hasn't been a lot of highs since I took over. I started part-time at Barstool in 2014, and then 2015 I got hired full-time in November. It's been some dark days. Now, as I say this, I feel like I might have just outed myself as like the curse of the Giants. Actually, no. What? We had a good year in 2016. No. We had a good year in 2016. It was a little bit of fool's go with McAdoo. I think we all knew that, but we had fun, right? Like I loved blogging about him, Benny with the good hair, all this kind of stuff. But we all kind of knew in our heart of hearts that it was going to end probably poorly. I didn't know it was going to end that poorly with him benching Eli for Geno Smith. I don't think any of us could have seen that, which then probably set us back like another 3 years. But we're finally have hit the reset button. So that was kind of my fandom in a nutshell. They're like my one team of happiness because I'm a Mets fan, a Knicks fan, and a Giants fan. So every few months, I get a little bit of happiness in my life, hopefully from September to December. And this is probably the season I've been the most excited for. I couldn't even tell you the last time I was this excited for a Giants season.
The young QB, man.
The young QB, the coach, and like it feels like a legitimate culture change. And the whole thing, Gettleman's there. I've always been someone who said, all these guys, all the GMs, they know more than I do. I don't know. You guys do scout tape. You guys are looking at tape and stuff like that. I'm pretty much a common fan. That's kind of what we do at Barstool. We crack jokes or whatever. I have some opinions on stuff, but I usually say these guys know more I do. My problem with Gettleman has always been just don't talk. Just don't give these guys sound bites because then people like in our industry or people like me, the bloggers, we have to then run with it. Then everyone laughs at us, points at us. We've had nothing but that. So that's what drove me nuts. But like you said, I feel like he had a pretty good draft. The Marcus Golden move was like a stroke of genius, which I think that was Kevin Abrams, they said, who was the guy who came out as responsible for that.
They said that, but I don't believe anything they say. I just don't.
That's true. It was Joe Judge, right? Let's just call it Joe Judge, so Belichick too, and all that stuff. But yeah, so even I feel like everyone deserves a clean slate. Jerry Reese's fingerprints are off this team completely now, and we move on from here.
Yeah. Now, you mentioned the Eli benching, and I try to be like a reasonable person, but that was the most unreasonable I was as a fan. I was on the Facebook commenting I'm going to boycott the team and stuff like that. With that being said, man, this is since I was in 6th grade, I went into every training camp with number 10 as my starter, man. How does it feel going into I love asking this question. What's it like going into a camp without Eli there?
It's a great question because the other day everyone was stretching, running around, and I saw number 8, and I got all excited. I go, "That's my guy!" And I go, "Holy!" It was the first time it hit me, and as I'm saying this, I got like a little bit of goosebumps. Oddly enough, I was like, Eli's just not there. Like he's just sitting. He probably has the kids like climbing on him as he's trying to like lay in bed and all that stuff. He's just doing Eli stuff, which is hilarious just thinking about itself. It's one of those weird things. I'm a little older, so a lot of people I work with grew up with Eli. That's all they know in their lives is Eli Manning as the New York Giants quarterback. And he was my senior year of college. So basically my entire adult life, I had Eli Manning as my quarterback of my team. And the thing about Eli, he was always there. He was always dependable. He always played, obviously, never missed a game because of injury and stuff like that. But it was also a roller coaster with Eli, for better or worse, right? We know all the stuff through the regular seasons, the playoffs and all that. So I'm going to miss Eli. I'm going to miss being able to set my watch to him. Hopefully Daniel Jones, for the next 15 years has the same kind of durability streak. But there's a lot of things that, we had with Eli as a Knicks fan who grew up with Patrick Ewing that I think we're going to realize how good we had it once he's gone, kind of a thing,
Right.
Now, I don't know how often you talk with him, but is there any tension between you and Prez about Eli Manning?
I think you guys know Dave. You're not going to win a debate with Dave, no matter what it is. He's going to outsmart you, out-yell you. He's going to do whatever comes. All Patriots fans, they'll come at you, they'll puff their chest. But I think in their heart of hearts, like 18-1's 18-1. That's the most devastating moment you can really have as a sports fan, to get that close, even with all those rings. I don't think anyone could ever do that. So I've gone a couple times with him. There was a year, it might have actually been I think 2015. Did we
The
have like a
Landon
nice
Collins drop.
Yeah, yep, exactly. So there was a couple times where I was, and I remember when the Giants and the Patriots, they played each other, and it was looking like that there could be another one of these, Super Bowls down the road. And I remember, like, I looked him in the eyes, and I could kind of tell, like, it never made sense, right? It's never made sense how it was like Eli taking down Belichick and Brady. So it was always like, it always felt like there was going to be the third part of the trilogy, and we always wanted to see it happen. And you just can't, you can't, what's the word I'm looking for? That black magic, you just can't explain it. So I think they were always kind of like, they'd almost rather face like a pro bowler, whoever the all pro quarterback was from an NFC team, over like Eli, just because he's Eli. He just does crazy stuff against the Pats. So yeah, Dave, I've seen people like they were sending him stuff with the unboxings and the pizza reviews. When Giants fans get him, you could tell it bothers him. And that's the only thing that I've ever really seen bother him, because he's had, like, God has been on his side for the last 15 years, basically, ever since he started Barstool. It's crazy.
Yeah,
he was a good sport. He was a good sport because he was up with Joe Ruback, license plate guy, and David Tyree when he opened up a smoothie place. He was like doing it. It was so strange. I still can't believe that the timing of that. David Tyree's doing an opening of a new store, and then he's doing a pizza review in a random spot in New Jersey, and then they meet. But he was a good sport about it, but I could tell he kind of wanted to die. I could tell.
Exactly. Tyree in itself, I think Tyree, like, Eli gets a little bit of respect, and like the whole thing, they have the Payton's number, all this. It's almost like it was the football gods. Tyree, I think, just pisses him off because he never caught another ball again. And it's like, it was such like a quote unquote fluke play, or whatever you want to call it. But I absolutely love it. And just that kind of stuff. Like I'm saying, my guy KFC at Barstool, he always says, Dave made a deal with the devil back in 2004 when he started Barstool. The Red Sox go in, they make the biggest comeback in the history of baseball. Boston becomes title town USA, and he has David Tyree just walking out of a new smoothie place. He has a deal with the devil. It's the only way to explain the way everything has gone since then. But he's like you said, he's a pretty good sport about it. And again, I know it really burns him deep inside. There's not many L's he's taken recently, but that's definitely one of them.
Yeah. Yeah, it's nice that we can just talk to Patriots fans without them doing like the 6 rings, because we just always have the 2 rings over them. It's like you could just actually have a real conversation with Patriots fans, where I feel like they don't get to do that with anybody else.
I think they actually appreciate that, as weird as it sounds. And it's like, I'm a very low-key fan. I don't like to rub a lot of stuff in people's faces. Probably my Mets and my Knicks fandom has probably brought me down like 7 levels. So it builds a lot of character. You're just like, listen, don't rub it. But I think they actually kind of appreciate that, like, they can drop that bravado. You know what I mean? The Tom and the Super Bowl rings, like you said. And I always liked the Patriots. I don't know about you guys, but I personally, like, again, Belichick was like a god in my house growing up. Belichick and Parcells were our 2 guys. And Belichick, obviously with the Pats, like, he was my guy. And the fact that they kind of grew into a dynasty when the Giants weren't playing, I'm a Mets fan, so I like the Red Sox. I like Boston because they're the only people that keep Yankee fans from, getting in my face even more than they usually do on a daily basis. So I've always had a good relationship with Patriots fans. It's just, again, it's wild the way it's all worked out.
I think some of our coworkers have been in your face with the Yankees stuff. Some of the other John Boy media guys with the side-by-sides of Judge and Alonso.
Yep. Which, I mean, these days, the Judge and Alonso is just a black screen for Aaron Judge. So like, we can all have the Aaron Judge things, but you have to realize he doesn't play half the time, which is part of the reason that these comparisons started the first. It's all good.
What's funny is me and Justin were talking when they were doing the warm-up games, and the guy who's actually like the biggest Alonso troll I've ever seen, who works with us at John Boy Media, he's like the nicest person you'd ever meet in real life. And then it was like, I saw him on Twitter, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, I didn't realize he was an internet troll." Once Alonso starts striking out, it was pretty funny.
Yeah, man. I mean, and you guys have awesome stuff over there too. It just kills me that it's like, you guys hit a lot of things, but like, even John Boy to start with, it was like, damn, that guy's a Yankee fan, man. It hurts me. I wish we had more Mets guys. I love my Mets Twitter guys. Don't get me wrong, but it kills me that John Boy, and then obviously with the whole Astros thing, it blew up to another level. But you guys are crushing it, man. You guys are doing awesome.
Yeah, thanks. So me and you were similar in this way. We're both solution guys. Like DeAndre Baker gets arrested, we're definitely bothered, but I think me and you are both solution guys where it's like, you know what, you're gonna pump up Bradford Cohen, and I'm gonna threaten the district attorney. I like that about me and you, man, where it's when bad things happen, it's not let's not cry about it. Let's try and figure it out, whether it's running laps or whatever.
Oh man, I woke up one morning and I'm like making breakfast to the kids, and I turn on Twitter, and I've forgotten that the Periscope, was it a Periscope for the court thing that you were
so
doing
lost into that, Clem. I was Googling. I was like, okay, I found the Miami's YouTube court. They did it yesterday at this time, and then I Periscoped it, and then you and John Boy had retweeted it, and I was like, why is there like this many people in here? And people are like, why are you talking over this? I'm like. And it just got too nuts. I was making fun of the district attorney. I was starting to worry that I was going to get in trouble.
Yeah, a bit of bond hearing. Hey, like they always say, fan is short for fanatic. We're fanatics. We're crazy people. And the worse your team is, you're just like looking for any way to like make your team better. We used a first round pick on the guy. We needed him. Like even DeAndre Baker, if he came back, he could have sucked this year for all we knew. But we needed to have him there. Bradford Cohen. It's funny though, because when you like just go down a Google rabbit hole, you don't know what you're getting next. Like I'm like, oh, so like, what's his lawyer? I see he tweeted here. I think Dan Dugan, who was just on your guys' show, he had tweeted something. So I like Google the name, go to his Instagram. He has like, he's just taking pictures of Getty pictures, screenshotting them and just writing these things. He's like Cody, I don't know the guy's name, Kodak Black or whatever. They have a whole thing about he's like a lawyer. He like helped defend him for something. And I'm like, oh my God. Then I start pulling the strings. I see he was on The Apprentice. He has like this whole commercial. He has Trump shouting him out, and I was like, oh my God, we have like we're cooking with gas here in terms of craziness, which there's no shortage of that with the Giants in the last 4 years and with the state of Florida in general for basically ever since it became a state. So we're solutions guys. I was behind you. I was chanting like free Baker. I don't care, Quentin Dunbar, do whatever. And then it all came crashing down on us. Dunbar is, I guess, free. He's not going to get charged. What is it? September 12th is Baker's Day in court?
Something like that. I just know once they had the DMs of like, hey, like bragging, like, hey, we're paying them off. I was like, okay, we're done. I'm done. I'm not doing the free Baker stuff anymore after seeing this.
Yeah, see, that was the thing is like I had started the free Baker stuff before I even had gotten like the legit play-by-play of what happened at that party. I knew there was a robbery. Then it was like there was guns telling people to shoot people. And I was like, all right, now we're going a little too much into this because I think we're trying to have fun on Twitter, and that's when you kind of steer yourself a little bit the wrong way. And everyone gets mad at everything these days too, so that's a whole other deal. So you have to like watch out what you say. You can't even, like I was on Twitter, I don't know, probably 10 years ago I think I started, and it was a completely different world. Everyone just had fun. It was kind of just BSing, and it's grown to a level I don't think any of us could have seen back then. And now it's like if you say anything that could be perceived the wrong way, you're gonna people or bots jump down your throat. So yeah, the free Baker movement, we're going to pump the brakes on that one. Not going to get canceled over DeAndre Baker for sure.
We had a free Baker t-shirt conversation, and then we realized, like, you know what? As much as we like to have fun, we probably have some like more low-key listeners and fans that would be like, you know what, Bobby, why are you profiting off a guy, doing a stick-up? You know what I'm like?
I
like,
love
you know
the
what?
Madden
They're
defense.
probably
Though.
right,
The Madden defense was great. He had me sold on the Madden defense. And this is the thing. I said it from the minute that court case came out. The state of Florida, there is like 10 different stories, and none of them are the same. They're all, counteracting each other. It's all going crazy. So, yeah, we're officially – all right, so we're going to say it right now. We're out on the free Baker. We're going to let the court, the United States judicial system take care of it, and we'll weigh in once everything is said and done.
Yeah, and I the Dunbar being let go gives me like half hope, like, oh, if Dunbar is getting like let go, but then the other half is like, well, if he got let go and Baker didn't, that means that Dunbar is snitching on Baker to get let go. So I'm just letting it play out. I was all in on Ross Cockrell. And then 2 days later, we lost him. So I don't know what we're going to do at corner.
Luckily, the NFL is not a passing league, so we don't have to worry about guarding defenders. Was it Baker the one who just left Devontae Adams in the end zone wide open? Because that's
that was Sam Beal. That was the one who opted out.
Sam Beal isn't even a real thing. He's a myth. He's a legend made up by Dave Gettleman. He's never actually been on a football field. They tell us Sam Beal is a Giant. I don't believe it. He wasn't even drafted in the real draft. It was the supplemental draft. Sam Beal is not a real person until further notice.
It's funny. I've always called Sam Beal a mythical creature. I'm very much with you, where he's just not a thing. He's a figment of our imagination. He's going to come in here and fix the secondary, and now I guess he's gone. So
yeah.
I'm not a solutions guy. So I'll just say this. There are times where I'm not a solutions guy, and one of those areas where I'm not a solutions guy, where I feel like you can really provide some good input, is old stadium versus new stadium. Or I guess, we'll call it MetLife. I feel the old stadium had character. I feel like it had grit. And especially now you walk into MetLife Stadium, it's a gray blob. I have no idea how we are going to be hosting the world's biggest event in the World Cup in the next couple of years in this gray blob boring of a stadium. So frankly, I don't know. You may not have any hot takes about this. I don't know how often you've been to the stadium. I don't know if you go to games, but describe the differences between like the old stadium, new stadium, even if you have any takes, or if you're just like, shut up, Justin, you should just watch football.
No, I'm with you. So this is my take on the stadiums. And I've said this before, and it's interesting. You say it, so you get like a couple people against me, but most people I feel like tend to agree with me. I think the old stadium was perfectly fine. I mean, I grew up with it, and I think it does, like all those stadiums, they had character. I also hear this about Shea Stadium as a Mets fan. I love Shea Stadium. It was the stadium I grew up with. It was a dump. It was a goddamn dump. It was a construction. It was also fun. I had many great memories there. It was just a bunch of concrete. It would be freezing in September when we were 100 games out of first. Giants Stadium was great, and this is the thing. I go to Giants games. I go to one tailgate a year. We have a big tailgate, the family, the friends, and then I sit back. I watch my TV at home where, got the ticket, got the Giants on, whatever. I go, I tailgate, I have fun. I could literally just be in the parking lot watching the game. I'd be happy. However, the new stadium, I hate the new stadium, because if you're going to spend all that money, get a new stadium, get us all excited, and then give us that, it's like it's an air conditioner. We're playing in an air conditioner. Listen, I get that Dallas and Texas is a completely different world when it comes to construction, when it comes to taxes, all the money that goes around there. But the fact the Cowboys built their stadium for less money than we built our stadium for. There was also something with China, I believe, was building stadiums at that time for the World Cup or the Olympics. I think that messed the prices of steel up. But it's like two different universes. It's like the old Giant Stadium compared to like the current Cowboy Stadium in terms of just differences of how much worse MetLife is than Cowboy Stadium. And they were both built at the same time. It just like breaks my heart that like it's not even that MetLife is so vanilla it makes me want to puke, which it does. But it's just like you see the Cowboy Stadium, you see the Rams and Chargers new stadium, you see the Raiders new stadium. You're like, how do we have a new stadium that is just completely like? It's just sterile. I don't know. Again, I'm a Mets fan. I love Citi Field. It's like a small, compact, like cozy ballpark, and I love everything about it. It's a new stadium. It's not perfect, but I love it. Giants MetLife Stadium, I could not care less about. It's like they built all that. Now this is the thing. The luxury boxes are probably through the roof. I bet it's the best filet mignon you've ever had your entire life. I'm sure there's like stuff that the Maras and the Tishes and like everyone who has like the secret society handshake, they probably have like fucking stuff underground that I can't even imagine. My commoner, poor man brain. But it kills me. I feel like they just make it look like an air conditioner, like I said, and they have like lights for blue for the Giants, green for the Jets. Sweet. It does absolutely nothing for me. So it just bums me out when I go to the games that like this is what we ended up with. I think we could have such a cool, so many cool experiences here. But like you said, in the end, they just wanted to get it, probably get all like the stuff, the luxury stuff, and then get things like the World Cup and which obviously in the Super Bowl, which they already got into the New York, New Jersey area. Which I want to ask you guys a question now. What do you guys think when people say, "Oh, the best team in New York is the Bills. They're the only team in New York"? Does that drive you guys nuts? Because that's been driving me nuts since I was a kid. It's like, who cares about the goddamn zip, the mailing address, the state that it says on the mail of the team?
I'm down here in Florida. I'm born in Jersey. So, like this, like, okay, I'm from Jersey. I like the Giants. My dad's a Yankees fan, and then I like the Devils and then the Nets, who actually frustrate me the most, even though I have the lowest expectations for them. So I have friends down here who are like, "Oh, the New Jersey Giants," and I'm like, "Cool. Like, I'm from New Jersey. I would be cool with that name." I was like,
Yeah.
I have a gap in my life since the New Jersey Nets turned to the Brooklyn Nets. Give me something New Jersey." So they really it doesn't ever bother me because I don't claim New York like I do Jersey.
Yeah.
Bills are closer to Canada in my brain than New York.
That's true.
They're in Canada.
Bills fans are nuts. You'd think like, oh, Buffalo, nice. Like the Bills Mafia stuff, it's funny. But they are some of the meanest people online I've ever met. Like 2 years ago, I just put up Josh Allen had his last pass against the Dolphins, and he was running to the left, and it was short. And I was like, Josh Allen's supposed to have this rocket arm, but he couldn't he couldn't complete this pass. Just random, like didn't expect Bills fans. And I had Bills fans, not just like random trolls, like guys like with their family and like Allstate real estate and like DMing me and like, you scumbag, like you peel, you faggot, like all kinds of stuff, And I never realized how mean they actually are in Buffalo. And they put their face on it. People in Buffalo is just, I don't know what it is, but they have an edge to them.
I think that, as the kids say, they're just different up there, right? I love the people of Buffalo. I have a great relationship with the people of Buffalo. I realize I say this with no like ill will towards them because I'm looked at as an upstater to everyone from the city. Like people in the city think Yonkers is upstate, right? Like that's just how they think with New York. They're like the wildlings from Game of Thrones. Like they're crazy, savage people in a good way that are like entertaining to watch, but you have to just let them be and let them do their thing. I love how they put each other through tables. They have fun on Sundays. They're drinking. They're making the internet fun. But if you come at their people, they're going to come at you back. So I've learned that. I've made a good way. I love Zubaz. Did you guys have Zubaz growing up?
No, I don't even know what you're talking about.
Zubaz.
You never had this Zubaz? Oh man, now I feel like an old person. It's like
we're making you feel real old right now.
You'll see him in the videos. They have the pants. It's like the red and blue and white pants that they have.
Okay. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, that was made up in Buffalo. I believe actually the Legion of Doom. Which tell me you guys know the Legion of Doom. Are you guys wrestling guys?
No.
No, okay, good. All right. Well, as long the Legion of Doom, like, it's probably a little too old for you guys too. They invented them, Buffalo. It was the whole thing. And that's kind of what they do. But I love the people of Buffalo. But that was a good learning lesson. The people of Buffalo will come at your throat because that's all they have. They have snow, they have the Bills, and then they have like perennial sports sadness.
I love the Bills Mafia, and one of my favorite moments was actually. Because you guys Barstool puts out the Bills Mafia videos, and my favorite one was the beginning of this year. It looked like a guy blew his head off with like a mortar, like his head is next to it, blows it off, and it was so funny because Dave he showed the DMs where he's like, "Is the guy okay?" Being like, "We can't post this if he's like got his head blown off." And the response is, "We're 3-0. He'll be fine." Like that was my favorite Bills Mafia moment right there.
Perfect Buffalo. That was all you need to know about Bills Mafia. I actually might be like my favorite Buffalo Bills Mafia moment because that just encapsulates it all. And that again comes with all the people going through tables. They're covering each other in ketchup and mustard. People, I mean, they're having like sex in the parking lot. It's just mayhem up there. I went to a Buffalo game in 2007. It was actually the game when Bradshaw had that long run.
Yeah.
And they clinched, and I'm screaming to the people, we're in the playoffs. We're going to the playoffs. I went to that game. I think it was ended November, right? Maybe early December.
And it was like week I know 15, we clinched the division that 14? Game.
Yeah.
Week 15.
Week 15. Okay. And the snow, I've never seen this before in my life. And I lived my entire life in Putnam County here in Mayapack. Snow was coming, and it started with rain sideways, snow from the top. Then it became ice coming from like the bottom. I'm telling you, ice came up from the ground. I lost a winter jacket, an iPod, a phone, like destroyed. And I didn't lose them. They were just destroyed by the weather there. And these people, it was like, a day in May for them. It was nothing. They were just shaking it off. They're walking in and out of the game in like shorts. And like we had to drive home. We're white knuckling the entire way home. But that's just their lives every single day. So they're born through like the darkness of football in the winter. So they're a different breed up there. I will say that.
I love it. All right. So
it was week 16. So I should really take a lap. 16. I should honestly get up and take a lap.
We're going to go take a lap. Yeah. I know you guys are doing laps the other episodes. Let's do a lap. Right. All right. I'm doing a lap tomorrow. I'm going to tweet you guys a lap. It's dark out right now. We're recording. I'm tweeting you. I said I'm sticking to this laps all year long. Coach Judge wants it that way.
All right. Well, now I'm going to have to do another one around the pool tomorrow. So we're coming up on 30 minutes. I have a hypothetical. We'll finish off on this. Giants have had some bamps that come across them. So who would you rather bring to a fight? Lawrence Taylor without crack or Brandon Jacobs on crack?
And the reason why we have to make that clarification, because I am of the belief
Lawrence
that we
Taylor
can't
with
just
crack is unfair.
Yeah, with crack, he's not the same. He's not a Hall of Fame player, and that's fact, not opinion.
Yes, no, PEDs come in many different forms. It doesn't just come with steroids with a little like ZYL at the end of the name. It's crack cocaine. I actually was, because that's what I wonder. I used to say, would Lawrence Taylor have been better if he wasn't on the stuff? And I'm like, no, he might have actually been worse if he wasn't on. I'm going LT, and this, I feel like this is where I'm going to separate from you guys. Again, I love Brandon Jacobs. If you can't love a big dude that just ran people over for fun. A guy that used to like trip over the line of scrimmage, I can't take him over a fight over Lawrence Taylor. I just can't do it. And he occasionally would just like pussyfoot around and then kind of like stumble and twinkle toe his way. And, we see it all there. The Charles Woodson, LaRon Landry, he's run over big people in the past. Lawrence Taylor was just a different breed. The crack cocaine is an X factor. I am admitting the crack cocaine is an X factor. I will have to try crack cocaine. I'm going to try crack cocaine after I do the lap. You
gotta do it before the lap, or maybe go on a lap around the neighborhood and find someone who can give it to you, and then
I may just never stop doing laps. That's my ace in the hole is a drug habit. If I ever have to lose weight, I'm just gonna get on some crack cocaine.
Joe Judge will be fired and be like, Clem is still doing laps. What is going on here? Yeah. Mark Colombo, I remember when we hired him, one of the videos I found was like him shoving Brandon Jacobs after the game. So I want to have Colombo on the show and ask him about that one day, because Jacobs is a bad dude. My favorite Jacobs moment was throwing his helmet into the stadium, into the seats of the in Indy.
I love when he threw the ball into the game clock in Dallas.
Actually, that was my favorite. I've never heard just such a loud impact from a football.
Yeah. And I know they say he can be fired up or it was because of Cowboys. I always like to think, because Eli always had those delay of games, he was getting back at the play clock for all the times Eli had those delay of games. He's like, this goddamn play clock. And he just, boom, just hit it for Eli, took one for the quarterback. And that's why I always appreciate Brandon Jacobs.
Yeah, I appreciate him. A transition. I appreciate you, Clem, man. We thank you for giving us time. Everyone go follow Barstool Clem at the Clem Report, man. Thanks for coming on. We'll have to catch up again after the season.
No, for sure, man. I'd love to come back whenever. I hope you guys get Colombo on too, because I'd love to hear him. I just feel like he's a guy that'll have some good stories. And it's just from like when he called Nick Gates an alpha, I was like, all right, that's the offensive line coach I want coaching my guys up. And everyone's saying how, Dallas had all these high draft picks, and we have a few high draft picks of our own, because that's where we've been drafting every year these days. So we have a couple guys. Hopefully he coaches up, we get some alphas in the room, and we'll see where we go. But I'd love to come back. Like I said, this is the most excited I've been for a Giants season in quite a long time. So let's go Big Blue.
All right. Thanks, man.